The secret behind any successful vegetable garden is of course healthy soil, and crop rotation is a great way to work with that. In this video we'll look at just what crop rotation is, why it's traditionally been a headache to organise and an easy way to master it, and stick around to the end to learn about the rainbow crop rotation system in which each crop benefits from what was grown before it. Hi, I'm Ben Van Heems, and on this channel we share the best tips for growing an easy and productive vegetable garden. Okay, so what exactly does it mean to rotate our crops? Let's find out. The vegetables we grow can be grouped into several plant families which have similar characteristics and often suffer from the same pests or diseases. Crop rotation is where we grow vegetables from each major plant family in different areas each year. Why do we do this? Well, firstly, because some pests and diseases can build up in the soil if the plants they affect are repeatedly grown in the same area. For example, nematodes like eelworms can devastate potatoes grown in the same place year after year, but they also affect other vegetables in the same crop family, such as tomatoes. Onion rot is a serious fungal disease that can persist when crops from the allium group are continuously grown. Cabbage root maggots affect all brassica crops, while fusarium root rot can wreak havoc among peas and beans. These are just a few of the many different soil-borne pests and diseases, and crop rotation is almost universally recommended to prevent them all. Secondly, different vegetables take different amounts of nutrients from the soil, and their roots access different levels of the soil structure. Cabbage family plants like a lot of nitrogen, tomatoes need plenty of calcium, beets and beans require manganese, and so on. Many salad crops are shallow-rooted, but other vegetables like potatoes and sweet corn have roots that extend deep into the soil to bring up nutrients from those lower levels. Because of this, growing the same vegetables in the same place year after year can lead to nutrient deficiency and poor growth. Some plants like potatoes act as good clearing crops, that is, their dense foliage helps to suppress weed growth, and when they are dug up, birds can eat pests in the soil such as slugs and wireworm. Squash or leafy greens can also be used to suppress weed growth before growing a crop like onions or carrots, which are highly susceptible to competition from weeds. For all these reasons, it's clear that crop rotation is an essential part of growing annual vegetables well. However, just knowing that we should rotate crops doesn't make it easy to organise. After a few seasons, crop rotation can become very complex, even in relatively small gardens. The problem is that not only do you need to remember where each type of vegetable was planted in the past, you also have to be able to correctly identify which plant family they belong to. Many books suggest having one bed dedicated solely to cabbage family plants, a bed for beans, one for potatoes, and so on, and then rotating them each year. However, few gardeners want to grow equal areas of each crop type, so this isn't always practical, and there are often additional constraints, such as whether your climbing beans will cast shade over other plants. Other people recommend a very simplistic rotation plan of placing root vegetables, fruiting vegetables, and leafy vegetables in different areas. But this roots, fruits and leaves system doesn't work well either. For example, it's not a good idea to grow tomatoes, a fruiting plant, after potatoes, a root crop, because both are in the same crop family and suffer from similar pests. This is where the garden planner can really come into its own. Rather than having to remember a complete planting history of which vegetables were grown where over the past 3 to 5 years, and which crop family each vegetable belongs to, the system can take care of that for you. In our garden planner, each vegetable has an area around it that shows how much space it requires. The colour of this area indicates the crop family, and the circles surrounding each crop in the selection area are also colour coded, which makes it easy to remember which family each plant belongs to. Then when you come to plan next year's garden, you can start with your previous year's plan. Click the New Plan button and toggle on the Create Follow-on Plan option. This sets up the crop rotation history, remembering up to 5 seasons worth of crops. Now when you pick up a plant to place it, you'll get red areas showing where to avoid planting based on the principles of crop rotation. For example, picking up this cabbage produces warnings showing where other crops from the brassica family, such as broccoli and cauliflower, were grown in previous years, so you can easily avoid these areas. Likewise, picking up tomatoes shows which areas to avoid planting them in based on where tomatoes, potatoes, peppers or other crops from the same family were previously grown. Because the system remembers where plants were for you, you get a lot more flexibility. If you want to grow more potatoes than beans this year, or grow squash with your cabbage, that's fine. The garden planner will remember where each crop was. The more years since you grew them, the fainter the red warnings. So if tomatoes were grown here 3 years ago, they only give a light flashing area compared to the potatoes that were grown last year. This is like a visual indication of soil memory, and it makes it easy to choose the best location for crops, rearranging them until you achieve the perfect layout for your garden. In small gardens, you won't always have enough room to follow a full 3 to 5 year rotation. In these situations, you will still get many of the benefits of crop rotation if you avoid the most intense flashing areas and rotate on a shorter cycle. Also, it's common to grow perennials and sometimes herbs in their own bed as they don't move from year to year. If you want to take it to the next level, you can look back at previous year's plans and follow a set rotation sequence. However, this isn't necessary, it's just an extra refinement to the system if you are very keen. There are many ways of organising this, but the easiest is to follow the colours of the rainbow, from blues and greens, through yellows to oranges and reds. Compost is added to the soil before blues and lilacs are planted, peas, beans and the onion family, which all like rich soil and are commonly planted together. Peas and beans add nitrogen to the soil, which is perfect for the brassica or cabbage family that are grown the following year. Yellows, potatoes, tomatoes, peppers etc. come next. Oranges, root crops such as carrots and parsnips, are then grown after them, since they benefit from the looser soil left when the potatoes have been dug up. Finally, the salmon-coloured squash family and the pink beet and chard family are grown. Plants with grey backgrounds, which come from other crop families, can be fitted in anywhere as they are less prone to soil-borne disease. Hey look, just remember this isn't a hard and fast rule. The most important thing is to grow your crops in different areas each year. But mastering crop rotation really is the best preventative medicine you can give to your garden. Check out our playlist on garden planning for plenty more top tips to help you produce your best garden ever.